Hello Electroheads, good news! Remember that? 2021 is shaping up to be a massive year for new electric cars. We're going to have a little bit of everything this year. We're going to see brand new record-breaking hypercars, but we're also going to see adorable new city cars. We're going to witness the birth of all new car brands, and we're also going to see some old motoring icons turn electric. Unless, of course, we're all killed at some point by some sort of apocalyptic space tornado. Wouldn't rule anything out at this point. But in the meantime, let me take you through some of my picks for the most exciting cars of 2021. But before we begin, do make sure to like and subscribe and drop a comment down below to let me know what you think is going to be the star car of 2021. Now then, let's kick it off with the Nissan Ariya. So Nissan's strategy when it comes to electric cars is really interesting. As far as I can tell, someone at Nissan must have given this big presentation back in like 2009, where they announced this 3-step plan that was like, step 1, we bravely become the first brand to sell an affordable EV with decent range. We shall call it the Leaf. Step 2, we chill for like 10 years. Step 3, boom, second electric car. And right on schedule, 10 years after the Nissan Leaf, here comes electric Nissan number 2, the Ariya. Now the Ariya is not a replacement for the Leaf, it's actually going to sit slightly above it. It's a big posh SUV type thing, truthfully. I usually hate those, but this one is a bit of a looker. This is not some concept drawing. This is the finished article. That is production ready, which presumably means that when it goes on sale later this year, you will genuinely be able to spec it with gold paint. Don't. Now we're expecting the Ariya to be a little bit cheaper than the current offering of posh electric SUVs like the e-tron and I-Pace, but don't think that that means Nissan have skimped on the hardware. We're talking north of 300 miles of range and 0 to 60 miles per hour in a slightly alarming 5 seconds. But acceleration is hardly the point here. The point is, it's a Nissan. And Nissans are, above all else, easy to live with. They're well-rounded. That's the reason why the Nissan Leaf is the second most successful electric car of all time. It's also the reason why every mum in the UK drives a Nissan Qashqai. Bottom line, I think the Nissan Ariya is a car worth paying attention to because we're going to be seeing a lot of them on the road quite soon. Okay, let's move on to something a little more spicy. This is the Cupra El-Born. There is nothing quite like a good hot hatchback, and this year we're getting an electric one. The Cupra El-Born is based on the VW ID.3, but it has a very different personality. Look at these racy bucket seats. Look at this big, angry, pointy face, and look at all these copper accents. Actually, not such a fan of the copper accents, but I got carried away. Now, we don't have a huge amount of detailed specs on the El-Born just yet, but here's what we do know. The fastest ID.3 currently has about 200 brake horsepower. I think it's safe to assume that the hotter El-Born will have at least 240, 250. We also know that it's going to have adjustable driving modes so that you can customize the steering, acceleration, and suspension. And get this, it's going to be rear-wheel drive. And if you know you're driving, you know why that's so exciting. Rear-wheel drive plus lots of torque plus short wheelbase equals sideways sendage. And that's just maths. I am very excited for this car, very excited. And it had better be good because it's not going to be the only electric hot hatch for very long. Mini have already promised us a super hot GP version of the electric, and there are already rumors swirling around of a VW ID.3R. Oh yes. Okay, enough of that. Let's talk about a couple of big old Luxo boys that are coming this year from Mercedes and Jaguar. 2021 will see the genesis of the luxury electric car segment. Currently, there are none. By the end of the year, there will be 3, the Lucid Air, the Jaguar XJ, and the Mercedes EQS. And just to be clear, before the Teslaists get in the comments going, oh, what about the Model S? I'm talking about a different class of luxury here. Model S, lovely car to be in, but put it this way, you drive yourself in a Model S, you don't buy one to sit in the back, whereas with these cars, driving it yourself is actually a little bit common. Now the Lucid we've already talked about a lot on this channel. I'll link a video somewhere up here. Let's focus on the other 2. So Mercedes have already treated us to a stunning looking concept for the Mercedes EQS, followed by a slightly blobbier but still interesting looking prototype wrapped in camo. And it's actually one of 6 new electric Mercedes coming this year, which is seriously impressive considering currently they make 1, I think? Now, we still don't know a huge amount about the EQS, but one very interesting detail that Mercedes have teased us with is something called the Hyperscreen. Now this is the interior of a brand new Mercedes S-Class. Very nice, right? Big screen for the driver, big screen in the middle, lovely. But you know what? Having two disconnected screens, so 2020. The Hyperscreen is a giant piece of glass which will dominate the dash in the EQS. It contains a screen for the gauge cluster, a big screen for the middle, and an additional passenger touchscreen, all contained in one giant unbroken piece of expensiveness. It's going to look spectacular. The Jag, meanwhile, well, they really have kept that one under wraps. I mean, literally, these are the only pictures that we've seen of it. In fact, Jag have only shared one actual photo of it so far. Here it is. Ooh, saucy. To be honest with you, I kind of feel like Jaguar, a bit like Nissan, slightly dropped the ball by not quickly following the fantastic I-Pace up with a second electric car, and now the pressure really is on the XJ to deliver the goods. But I think it will, because no one does suave quite like a Jag. I am just so sure that big, expensive Luxo barges like this are just going to be so much better off with electric power. It suits them so well. And that is the reason why, despite the fact that I will never be able to afford one, I am so excited to see the birth of the electric luxury car in 2021. Speaking of things I will literally never be able to afford, let's have a chat about the Audi e-tron GT, shall we? Now, unlike the aforementioned Jag and Merc, we've been treated to plenty of sneak peeks of this car. It's even had the Tony Stark seal of approval. Now, some of you may be looking at this car thinking, well, what's so exciting about that? It's pretty much just a rebodied Porsche Taycan. Well, I'll tell you two things that are exciting about that. Number one, it's basically just a rebodied Porsche Taycan. And number two, look at it. The e-tron GT is going to be Audi's electric flagship, and it is a spectacular looking thing. Audi have been on fire with their car design for years now, but this has to be the best looking one of the bunch. Like the Taycan, it will be available with a variety of motor options, ranging from good lord, that's a bit quick, to fetch me my brown trousers. As for exactly how it's going to differ from a Taycan, aside from the interior and the design, my guess is that the Audi will have a slightly softer edge to it, dynamically speaking. A little less emphasis on precision and tactility, a bit more focus on effortlessness and comfort. That's just my guess based on what I know about the brands. Could be horribly wrong, usually am. This is the world we live in now, where every new electric car is somehow related in terms of its underbits to several other new electric cars. And some people might think that's a shame, that it's killing off individuality. I think it's the opposite. Because by sharing the platform and the motors and the batteries, none of which really contribute that much to a car's personality, car makers are able to give more time and effort to the little details, the things that really distinguish a car and make it unique. I think that the e-tron GT is going to be perfect proof of this. I think it's going to be a lot more different from a Taycan than people are expecting. We'll find out soon. So there we go, those are a few cars that I personally am really looking forward to seeing this year. This is by no means an exhaustive list. I could have gone on for hours about the Mustang Mach-E and the Avaya and the Hummer and the Rivian and the Fiat 500. There are a lot of them. But actually, we have already done entire videos on some of those cars, so do yourself a favor, go have a nice Electroheads binge this evening. Thank you very much for watching. Please do make sure to like and subscribe, and leave a comment down below to let me know what you think is the star car of 2021, and we'll see you soon.